Good morning, this is woodblock printmaker Dave Bull speaking to you from our usual place for the introduction of these videos here at my carving bench in our shop in Asakusa in Tokyo. I got to tell you right up front, this is going to be a very different video from some of the ones you've seen before. Not different in content because it's going to show you the production of a woodblock print that you've seen before, but it's different in production. I didn't make this video. My friend Cameron, who just pressed the button on the camera here, is the one who did this. He and Suga-san, our printer, have been working for the past 2 or 3 weeks, I guess, putting together a video that shows the construction of our newest Ukiyo-e Heroes print. This is the one that Jed calls Times Burned Bright, a group of heroes surrounding a campfire ready for tomorrow's action. Those of you who know the game have been waiting for this for a long, long time. There's a reason it's taken a long time. It's extremely difficult. It's the most difficult woodblock print we have yet created in this workshop. There's at least 20, Cameron, I forget, 27 impressions on this thing, and you can see it. It builds up and up and up and up and up. Suga-san took the test impressions and I had to send her back to the beginning. She did it again. I sent her back to the beginning. It went on and on and on and on. I don't want to make it sound like she didn't know what she was doing. She did know what she was doing, but we really put the screws on to make a beautiful print on this. This upcoming video is going to be a little bit long because it shows you every one of the steps of this thing going from the beginning blank paper right up to the end of it. Now, I myself saw this as a rough cut for the first time last night, and it was hugely interesting. Normally I make these videos, so it's, the person who made it can't really see it from a third-party point of view, but I saw it last night for the first time, and I had mixed feelings. I was like, half of it was oh my God, what's happening, what's next? How long is this going to go on for? Aren't they finished yet? It just goes on and on and on. And then when I was finished, I realized, holy crap, these things really do take an incredible amount of work to make, and I hadn't realized that myself. Anyway, let's just get to this. I don't need to talk much more. I'm going to turn you over now to Cameron and Suga-san. They've spent the last few weeks making this. You're going to hear a bit of an interview with them in the middle of this. Let's see the production of Times Burned Bright. Cameron-san, over to you.
As David just mentioned, there really is a lot of work going into each one of these woodblock prints. To demonstrate just how much work goes into it, I wanted to let this key block impression go without any cuts. You get to see the entire impression done from start to finish. I had 2 cameras running simultaneously so that we could jump back and forth and get different views, but it's all one take. The key block is the most important block in Japanese woodblock printing, as it serves as a guide for all the color block impressions that will come later. For a portion of the second impression, I decided to use a much wider lens so that you could get a better view of Suga-san's full workspace. We'll take a closer look at it later. You can already see her pigments on our left, her right, and her finished prints over on her left, our right. It's interesting to note how rich and dark this red looks in the video, but in fact the color on the print will be very different, as you'll see in a moment. This could just be an issue with the camera work though. I'll blame the cameraman. That's me. On this block, it almost looks like Suga-san is just getting the block wet, like there's hardly any pigment on it at all. But in fact, this is a nice, light, earthy color for the foreground. In just a moment, anyway, I'm going to help the printer check a little tool that colors I've heard is called Maru-Maru-chan that was used in a previous might edition. Be translated as, in this case, one of the previous circles, test prints, as this is the first full batch. Using the Maru-Maru-chan, Suga-san is able to isolate the colors, because it's hard to really tell if you have the pigments right if you're looking at one that has many different colors in the background, the completed print, and then the other that's still only partially done. By using the Maru-Maru-chan, she is effectively isolating the colors and giving both a white background so she can see if they are the same. Impression 6 here, as you will see, is the first of many, many shadow layers. These all build up to create a beautiful image in the end. You'll notice I marked this one as 8A, the first impression of this color. That's because the background is made out of several layers of pigments all overlapping in different ways to form a shadowy, mysterious background. And this is the first of those large layers. To do a gradation, Suga-san first uses that wet cloth wrapped around a block to get water onto the woodblock. Then she uses a brush that has pigment in about half of it, and then uses that brush to spread the pigment so that it gradually gets less and less, going from one side to the other. And then once she puts that brush away, she grabs another one that looks the same, but it's a different brush. And this one only has water in it to further dilute the pigment, making for a smooth gradation. You will see these steps in action again and again throughout this video, because there are many more gradations to come, including a second impression of this one. After some discussion with David, and doing a few tests, they decided that one impression of this block didn't leave the right impression, so they ran the whole batch through again, doing a second impression. So that's why we have 8A and 8B. It's the same block with the same pigment. Of course, I could have trimmed these two to make it look like one impression, but I wanted to show you just how much labor and love goes into these beautiful prints. You'll see here Suga-san doing something very interesting. She uses a small folded piece of paper to keep the print off of the pigmented part of the block, where she doesn't want pigment to land. As the paper is always kept moist, it bends very easily, and without that you might end up with splashes of blue where it doesn't belong. Here we have another shadowy layer in the background, and you can see how it adds a lot of depth, just to add one more layer of shadows onto many of the characters. I have to apologize. I've made a mistake. I didn't get a scan of impression number 11. So the next scan will be on number 12. Fortunately, you'll still be able to see the effect of number 11 on number 12. Here on number 11, though, we see an impression in a red-orange color that covers most of the same area as the yellow fire impression, but it's just different enough to add a little bit more depth and interest to the image. Suga-san is still working on that fire, this time adding a bokashi, a gradation, at the bottom of the fire. I made the scan last a little bit longer so that you can see the orange layer over the yellow layer, in addition to impression number 12, the red bokashi at the bottom. Here Suga-san is doing one more layer on the fire, this time a beautiful red gradation at the top. Here we ran into an interesting issue. Looking at the test prints, the warrior in the background's face and hands were getting printed a little bit too dark. So David and Suga-san discussed some options and decided to have David carve out the face and the hands from the shadowy section of the block. In order to do this, Suga-san had to choose one of her prints to be sacrificed and glued onto the block. To glue it onto the block, she used the bot-end tool, but instead of applying pigments with it, she first applied just a layer of glue, got the whole thing attached very firmly, and instead of peeling off only the print, she handed the entire block to David. While waiting for the block to come back, she mixed some pigments, testing along the way. Notice the different smears of different shades of gray. She tests again and again until she's satisfied she's found the right color. David has brought back the block. In order to carve the block, David had to peel away layers of the washi, destroying that print completely. He then carved out the area of the warrior's head and hands so that they wouldn't receive the pigment on the next impression. Watch Suga-san peel off the paper and get ready for the next impression. I love to see all the colors that our printers put together, and the surprising end result. Here she starts with a green, and then adds red, and then ends up being the gray in the shadows and the armor of the warrior. Here we have another background gradation. This time the shadows are taking a different form. We can see trees and other foliage. Here's another example of the colors on the block looking very different from the final color that appears on the print. It looks rather green as she applies it to the block. In the end, it ends up being a very nice light shade of tan, adding a lot of depth to the foreground. The more colors that are added, the harder it gets to keep track of which color is new on these scans. Fortunately, at the end, there will be a slideshow to make it much easier to understand. Finally, after all those earthy tones, here's one that's easy to recognize in the scan. A nice bright green. I have been joking about all the background shadow layers because there are so many, but honestly, the final effect is absolutely gorgeous. Here we add some dark violet for hair and other areas. On the scan it didn't show up too well, but when you hold an actual print, the color is beautiful. Here's a brief look at Suga-san's workspace. Pigments, barin, waiting prints, completed prints, water and brush to keep everything moist. She keeps everything close at hand. This impression and the next one are two dark bokashi gradations at the top and bottom. These two impressions together add just a bit more depth to the image. This small bluish bokashi has a very subtle effect, but it's an important part of the final image. These last few impressions are pretty short and quick, so I haven't had to do a lot of cutting in order to shorten the video. Yes, 28 out of 27. This is not a woodblock, but rather the name embossing for the printer and the carver. It is done using a resin board, or jushiban in Japanese. No pigment is used to make the embossing.お疲れ様でした。
お疲れ様でした。
はい、大変でしたね。
はい、やっと終わりました。
そうですね。
はい。
いつ最初の浮世絵ヒーローズ、
はい、
刷りましたか？
一番最初に刷ったのは今年の1月ですね。はい。そうですか。じゃ
あ今年はずっと浮世絵ヒーローズじゃないですか。
ほとんど浮世絵ヒーローズが多かったですね。
そうですね。
はい。
どれを刷りましたか？浮世絵ヒーローズの中から。
今まで刷ったのがこれですね。刷ったの。新しい作品と、あと前の作品と、で今度ドラゴンやるので、これ新しいので、
じゃあ今回は5番目でしたね。
そうですね、今回5番目になりますね。
すごいですね。この浮世絵ヒーローズシリーズに携わることができて、どう思いますか？どうですか？
もう人気の作品なので、すごい毎回いろんな作品なのですごい楽しみにしています。はい。
でも楽しいと言っても結構難しいですよね。
そうですね。特に今回のは難しかったというか苦労しました。
でも一番勉強になったのはどれですか？
そうですね。勉強になったのは、いろんな意味で一番最初の作品が一番勉強になったというか、新しい作品を初めてデビッドさんと作ったのがこれが初めてだったので、これが一番勉強になったかなと思います。
どうしてですか？ どこが特に難しかったですか？
そうですね、難しかったというか、こう絵を新しい作品なのでこう、雰囲気を壊さないようにデイビッドさんの要望するものを取り入れてこう雰囲気を出していくっていうのが難しかったというか、すごく勉強になりました。はい、
だからね、もういっぱいありますね。
そうですね、いろいろここを変えてっていう感じで。
なるほど。
はい、今
回も難しかったですよね。
そうですね。
何回刷りですか？
今回は27回で、はい。
でも版木は27枚にはならないですね。
そうですね。
何枚あるんですか？
今回は9枚ありましたね。裏表で全部で9枚でした。はい。
でも今回の一番難しいところはどこでしたか？
そうですね。
メモもいっぱいありますから
ね。いろいろこう変えていきながらだったんですけど、やっぱりデイビッドさんと相談しながら技術的にはこう手のぼかしがやはり難しかったんですけど、明るいところと暗いところ、デイビッドさんがこうミステリアスな感じ、雰囲気を出したいっていうことで、こう色の具合を見ながら明るいところ暗いところを作って、まあいろいろやり直して3回ぐらいやり直して、そうですね、作り上げていったので、まあいろいろでもいい作品にしたいと思ったので、やっぱりそれもすごくいろいろ勉強になってよかったと思いました。
なるほど。
はい、
大変ですね。でも素晴らしいと思います。
はい、よかったです。
はい、お疲れ様でした。
はい、よかった、お疲れ様でした。
はい、今後ともよろしくお願いします。
はい、またよろしくお願いします。
Thank you so much for joining us for this video today. I hope you've enjoyed watching Suga-san put together this beautiful Times Burned Bright print. I know I've learned a lot and had a lot of fun working with Suga-san and wrestling our movie editing program to put together this video for you. While I'm not part of the production of these prints as a designer or a carver or a printer, I still love to be involved at Mokuhankan, and I look forward to bringing more videos to you in the future. Thanks a lot.